United need to sign more players before the end of the transfer window. Midfield has been the main area of improvement this summer, with signings of Yuri Tielemans and Andre Santos. But more incomings are needed, according to United's head coach.
Yeah, I think for us, we're delighted with the players we brought in first and foremost. I think we've improved the group, we've improved the squad in different ways, balance, quality and the direction we want to go in. So the players that we've brought in, I think we've done really good business and we've got really some top players. So we're delighted with that. We always want to improve. We want more. We need more. We keep looking to how we can do that. So that never stops. We're conscious of that, and we've got to keep pushing. He knows the club as well as anybody, and that's a real positive. You know, he's been here all his career, all his life before the last 18 months or so, and to understand what it means, and so that side of things is naturally, you know, that's a given. I know we've got history, but I've got history with a number of the players as well, so that doesn't make that a unique situation at all, and treat him as exactly like any other player, you know, and bringing him into the group and carry on as normal. He brings the group things that we haven't got, and we want to get that balance with every individual player, and Marcus has come back and he's in good form, and it's been good to have him around this week.
So look, you heard there from Michael Carrick and us sitting down with him. He wants and needs more signings before September's deadline. And I don't think that's quite a surprise to anyone listening to that. I mean, we know at left back they lack depth there behind Luke Shaw to really rotate in that position. You look at midfield, they don't really have any more numbers there than they did last season, with Casemiro leaving the club and Manuel Ugarte also out for the foreseeable future. Another player we do have to talk about is Marcus Rashford. We spoke to Michael Carrick about him. I asked, you know, having seen Rashford and heard Rashford on multiple occasions last season talk about how he wanted to stay at Barcelona, you know, how does he feel for the player himself? Does he feel empathy for him? And Michael Carrick spoke about just, you know, players' careers do go up and down. He has spent, you know, the majority of his career, of course, at Manchester United. However, he did make a point, Michael Carrick, that although they do share a long history together as former teammates, a coach-to-player relationship as well, he won't be treated any different to any of the other players in the squad. What I'm feeling is the door is still slightly ajar for Marcus Rashford to potentially leave the club before September's deadline, but it still feels like we're in that little bit of uncertainty between the club, the player, and just exactly what kind of shirt, whether that's a red shirt or not, after September's deadline, what we'll see Marcus Rashford in.
Interesting. Dan, not sure where we are with Rashford. What do you think about what Michael Carrick said?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think the key point, Mike, is that Marcus Rashford offers a solution in attack for Manchester United at the moment. Another option for Michael Carrick, at least, as well. So it would make absolutely no sense at this point to alienate him whatsoever. On top of that, he's got a working relationship over years at Manchester United with Marcus Rashford as well. I know he touched on it in what he had to say and says it's not necessarily anything different to what he's had with other players, but it could still be a key element in motivating Marcus Rashford. Effectively, he's got a point to prove after the disappointment of that deal not happening with Barcelona, them not taking up that option, that £26 million option that they had on him, and ultimately signing Anthony Gordon as well. So Manchester United could be getting him back a player who really has got the bit between his teeth and wants to make the point that he's as good as anyone out there. You go back to 22-23 season, he scored 30 goals. For Manchester United across all competitions. That's the best season that he's had. Prior to that, there was 22 goals and 12 assists in 1920 and 21 goals, 13 assists in 2021. Since those days and those kind of levels up to 23, he's not really hit those levels once again. So maybe this is the crucial point in Marcus Rashford's career, and it could well be with Manchester United, and that would bode well, obviously, for Michael Carrick.
Right, though. We've been here many a time. Is that a manager saying, he's really important to us, I love him, it's good to have him back? Or is that a manager who's saying, if you want him, you're going to have to pay a lot because we want him, when they don't want him so much?
I think Michael Carrick is very aware that he needs to be very careful with how he talks about Marcus Rashford, because clearly the club are in a situation whereby I think if they could get a sizable fee for him in this transfer window, then they'd definitely entertain it. His wages are enormous. He's still got 2 years left in his contract, and he's not played for Manchester United since December 2024. But what I find fascinating is that if United went into this transfer window without Marcus Rashford ever being associated with Manchester United, then he'd be the sort of player they'd be looking for in this transfer window. It's whether or not he can get back to that level, get that trust back with the fan base, and perform at the level we have seen of him at times at United. But I still think the door isn't closed on him leaving the football club. I think if they can get a sizable offer for him and then spend that money signing another left-sided player, I think they would look to do that. But I don't think many people ever thought he'd play for Manchester United again. But I think we're in a situation, if you're a betting man, you'd say he probably will be involved in that game against Hull next weekend.
Oh, OK. Carrick said they need more signings. You said they'd sign Rashford if they didn't already have him. Where do they need to strengthen?
Centre midfield, despite the fact they've signed 2 players already, I still think it looks a little bit light. We saw Mason Mount go off with an injury after 18 minutes at the weekend, and he was seen as a player who could potentially deputise for Manuel Ugarte. So you'd have those 4 centre midfielders, including the 2 they brought in, Santos and Tielemans, Kobbie Mainoo and Mason Mount, and you think that would be enough in terms of centre midfielders. But with Mason Mount, unfortunately, for the 3 years he's been at Manchester United, he's not always been fit. He's probably missed more than half of the matches. And there's a feeling that Santos and Tielemans are sensible signings, but not perhaps the big names that United are looking for in this transfer window. So I think a third midfielder definitely isn't something to rule out. A left-sided player, I think they will look to strengthen. Luke Shaw played every single Premier League match last season, which is incredible considering his injury record. And when Shaw is fit, United tend to have really, really good seasons. But United in the Champions League, a new-look Champions League now, there's more matches than ever. They need a deputy for Luke Shaw. We know Tyrell Malacia has departed. There is that interest in Lewis Hall. So you would think they would like to have a left-back. I think if they were to sign any more players in this transfer window, a left-back would be the priority, because I think they can probably get by with the centre midfielders they have, despite the fact that they're not very exciting. Left-back, if Luke Shaw breaks down early on this season, they look to be in real problems in that area of the pitch.
James touched on it. They haven't done a lot of business so far. What do you think about the way they're going about things?
I think James touched on it as well when he said sensible. It's not spectacular at the moment, but Tielemans, for example, and Santos, we know what exactly they can provide to that Manchester United side. It gives an element of stability and experience, certainly from Tielemans' point of view as well. And you look what he's been able to do in English football since he's been over. At the same time, I think the fact that Michael Carrick is calling for more signings just says everything about how their summer's gone so far. The fact is that they still need players in. If they're really going to compete across all competitions, they need greater depth within that squad. And certainly the left-hand side that we keep pointing out is a crucial area for them.
What would success be for Manchester United this season, do you think?
I think qualifying for Champions League football again would be a success. I know Manchester United fans want the club to return to winning titles and return to a level where they are competing for silverware. Last season they had 40 matches because they went out against Grimsby at the first stage of the Carabao Cup, went out against Brighton the first stage of the FA Cup in the 3rd round. United fans want to see that side compete for domestic honours and in Europe as well. But I think all the changes at all the various Premier League clubs, you think Manchester United are actually one of the most settled sides, despite the fact Michael Carrick is going to his first pre-season at the club. I think you can probably rule out a title challenge this season, but I think United fans would take a season of progress where they finish in Champions League football once again, and then maybe next season be in a position where they can kick on and try to end that long wait for a Premier League title. I think qualifying for Champions League football again, a top 4, top 5 place finish, I think United fans would take that and a cup run as well.
It's only fair to ask the man who covers our teams in Merseyside, who finishes higher, Liverpool or Man United?
I feel like I'm getting into the Jamie Carrick and Gary Neville argument now as well. I think Liverpool will finish higher because I think at the minute...
Because you couldn't go home if you said any different.
Well, yeah, you can imagine how much stick I'll be getting outside Liverpool's training ground if I said otherwise as well. At the same time, I'll be getting stick outside Everton's training ground for saying this on top of that. But I just think you look at that Liverpool squad at the moment, there's been flashes, I think, in pre-season, the relationship that Wirtz and Isak are striking up. They seem to have greater depth. Araujo coming in and covering 2 positions at the back at centre-half and at right-back as well. Players to come back from injury. Yes, Liverpool still need to add to that squad as well, and we know about their shortcomings, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on as well. We'll know that they still have not been able to bring in another right-sided attacking player. With Mo Salah having gone, they've lost that experience. They've lost the experience of Andy Robertson and Ibrahima Konate at the back. At the same time, they've still got a leader like Virgil van Dijk in there. The midfield is still good with the likes of Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai in there and all that they can offer. Florian Wirtz, I mentioned as well, we're expecting bigger things from him this season. So Liverpool, to all intents and purposes, have got that package there and are used to playing weekends, midweek, week after week after week. This is something that Michael Carrick and Manchester United have got to get back used to doing because, of course, they haven't had that.
Yeah, indeed. All right, well, we're not going to let you off.
I don't see why he can't. I think, you know, he's gone away from the football club and, you know, he's sampled. Obviously, we had him at Aston Villa. He's gone to Barcelona. He had a fantastic season, scoring goals, assists, 14 goals, 11 assists in total. Why couldn't he come back into the fold at Manchester United? I mean, there's no doubt that Marcus Rashford has, I feel, found his feet again. And, you know, you look at what they have in that forward area. You know, the likes of Brian Mbeumo, you know, you've got Fernandes, you've got I mean, you've got some brilliant prize assets there, but I just think that this could be the time where we might see him revitalise his Manchester United career. I really do. And I'm sure Michael Carrick's looked at it and thought, do you know what, we have got a player here, you know, it's a fresh start for him to come back in. I just think that this would be a good time for him to step back in to that Manchester United fold and really show what he's all about and show that character, because, you know, it'd be a matter of time before he wins over everyone and everyone starts believing in what he's all about. He's got great ability and he can certainly add to Manchester United's push this season.
Yeah, and I guess if you look at it with Mbeumo one side, Cunha the other side, and Seska, if that's the starting three with Fernandes, he can fit in anywhere. So he's got that versatility. He play the 9, he can play wide. He's a great player to have.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He can play in a number of positions through that forward line. We've seen him play as a number 9. We've seen him come out wide and play off the left-hand side. And I think, listen, at times, you know, Manchester United might play a false 9 where they've got that versatility because they've got so many attacking, you know, options and flair that they have in that forward area. So I just think that, you know, for the noise that's quieting down with Marcus Rashford about him, you know, not going anywhere or teams not really fancying taking him, and obviously him not staying at Barcelona, I just think it's all teed up for him to go back into the fold at United and really show what he's all about.
I just don't think they're deep enough to sustain the challenge across competitions. They even with a couple more players, I think they will solidly finish in the top 4 and make a good run in Champions League, but I don't think they're quite there yet to make a title run. I think they're a year or so away from that. But I do think Manchester United are on the right track. They've made some really, really smart signings in the last couple seasons. We mentioned Yuri Tielemans. I think he's a great signing. I think sticking with Michael Carrick is the right move for them, at least for the foreseeable future. There seems to be a tiny bit of stability in this Manchester United, which is a word we could not use for the last few years. So I do believe United are on the right track. I just don't think they're quite ready to fully challenge. I think they're ready to stay in Europe and be